All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to our September 2022 Live Product Updates webinar. Um, Thank you for joining us today. Before we jump in, I wanted to give a quick introduction to Rossum to those of you who may be new around here. So Rossum is an ITP platform, intelligent document processing platform that takes a document from start to finish fast. So what we'll be sharing today is, by the way, my name is Maya. I'm a product marketing manager here at Rossum, and I'm joined here by Jason Albasha, who is our enterprise solutions engineer. So we'll start with talking about some newest product releases. Then Jason will take us through the demo to show you the newest releases and how they work together, how they work in action. And then we'll make sure to take some questions on the air. So make sure in the meantime to, submit your questions in the Q&A or in the chat box. We'll try to go through them, power through them as much as we can today. But if not, we'll make sure to follow up with your answers in the aftermath. So before we jump in, a couple of housekeeping items that I wanted to mention. So don't worry, this webinar is recorded. You will be able to view it and share the recording further. So keep an eye on our YouTube channel. We will also be communicating after the webinar is finished. As I mentioned, submit your questions. We'll try our best to take you through them and provide you with the answers live, and if not, then in the follow-up. And then, of course, keep in touch either through your Rossum representative or by dropping us an email at ask at Rossum AI. And the last but not least, we have an updates page that is very alive. It's living and breathing page. So if you wanted to learn and stay in the know of what's new with Rossum, you could always visit updates.rossum.ai to learn more about what we're up to. Today, we're mostly sharing the highlights from the previous quarter. So what's new in Rossum? I'll start us off by talking about a couple of exciting news for us. So Rossum, of course, and being an IDP space, has this commitment to excellence and security and privacy. So we've been compliant for a while, but we just completed SOC 2 Type 2 report. And what's important is we completed this report in all 5 audit areas. So we want to this report to highlight our commitment to security, to integrity, and to the effectiveness. You have a blog on our page. You can find more information there, but this is great news for us, and we're very happy about it. Another thing is that Rossum UI is now available in 6 new languages. So, of course, our customer base is growing, we're growing fast, and with that grows the amount of languages that our users are using on their daily basis. So to provide a better customer experience, we wanted to add 6 new languages to the platform's UI on top of the English and Czech language that already existed. So you could see those languages here. We have German, we have French, we have Spanish from Spain, we have Portuguese, the Brazilian version of it, we have Chinese simplified, and we have Japanese. To quickly show you, you could very easily configure that language in your personal settings account. Just go to your top right and then choose localization and choose the language that you wanted to in the drop-down menu. So it's pretty straightforward. Another new thing that just dropped is that we want to give you more control over your workspace. So we talked a lot with our users, and one thing that they wanted to do is they wanted to be more independent in terms of how they decide to process and which documents. So as of now, if you receive certain documents to Rossum via email, they could count towards your document quota. So this new update enables you to get full control over which documents that arrive via email you want to process. You could enable document delete recommendations to filter out the documents that you just don't need to be processed. So there's a few different criteria. Jason will take us through them later on in the demo, but basically you would be able to filter out and the documents that you don't want to be counted against your document quota with this new update. Another new feature and capability when it comes to controlling your workspace, it's a workspace management. So this is something that was requested a lot as well. Right now, our users can, with this new update, they can delete and manage their workspaces. They can delete the queues, they can delete entire workspaces. They could move the queues between the workspaces, and they could move the email communication that's associated with this queue. They could purge the documents in deleted state and delete empty workspaces in general. So you don't have to contact support for doing that. You can do it completely on your own, clean up your workspace, decide what you want to keep. And yeah. So the last but not least, what I will mention is the combined power of extensions and integrations. This is also part of the demo that Jason will be showing. What it allows us is chain a bunch of extensions together. Some of this you've already seen. So the value transformation extension has been available for a while, data matching as well. Certain ERP integrations were available too. But with these new updates, we introduced some changes to each one of those extensions and integration to allow them to work better together, to bring the added value with this combined power of everything working together in concert. So with that, Jason, did you want to take us through the demo of the features that I mentioned?
Yeah, I thought you'd never ask. I'm going to go ahead and share my
Perfect.
screen. Maya, can you pass over control of the screen, please? So Maya, thank you for the great introduction. Basically covered everything we'll be going through. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Here we can see the Rossum dashboard. Before we get started, I am going to email in a document that we'll be using for the demo purposes. It's actually going to go not to this queue right here. I'm going to go ahead and showcase the workspace management as well as the suggested document deletion. So if you're familiar with Rossum, we're in the dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and go into a document right now. And if you look at the bottom right before I go in, I'll give you a second to find it. It's telling me that this document is 5 pages. And so I have a filter criteria set up that if any document that comes in that's more than 3 pages, then it should pop up this suggestion here to delete the document. This is just, as Maya mentioned, another way to control the charges. If I do use this option here, I will not be charged these 5 pages for this document. So here we can see the warning, we can see the specification. If I go ahead and edit criteria here, go ahead and click that. It's going to take me straight here. These are just the options that I have enabled because of my schema. There are plenty more options available, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this is also add order to this list. And let's just say English, for example. I'm going to save that and I'm going to go back to the document. And what I'm going to see here is more specifications about why this deletion is popping up. So again, more control over your document. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this document just for this example. If I skip over to the deleted, I will see it's still here, but I wasn't charged for it. So that's it for controlling the actual documents. As far as the workspace, you saw all those documents in the deleted, but sometimes you might want to get rid of the queue. And what's important here isn't just deleting the queue, which I can do. It'll tell you how many documents, how many emails you're deleting, but the idea isn't just the deletion of the physical queue's presence, it's also the purging of the documents and the data that's within this queue. So I'll have to check off all 3 to let you know that this is permanent. There's no coming back from this. I'm gonna go ahead and delete it. I hope I didn't lose anything important. I'll go ahead and delete the workspace as well, just for showcasing. And now you can see the look is much more cleaned up. That data has been deleted. So moving on from that, I'm going to show our expanded extensions. Here, this is the document that I just emailed in. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And looks like Rossum did a good job at extracting that information. What's going on here is this is a naughty vendor who likes adding this little 2-letter the string before the purchase order number. Our system, for example, only works off this number. So what I'm doing is that it captured the PO number. I'm normalizing that PO number. So you see when I click on it, it shows me where it captured this. Here, there's nowhere that it captured it from because it's normalizing it to what I want it to look like. And then I'm using that normalization. This is using the value transformation extension, which I'll show you later. It's also using our complex data matching. So it's not just looking up the order using the order number or the amount due. It's actually using both. So it's taking the normalized order number, it's taking the total amount due that it captured off the document, and then it's looking it up and finding it in my system, and it's letting me know here that it found it. We also have some more data matching here. It's taking the vendor name and it's finding the vendor ID that's also within my system. So this is referencing two different databases. One is about my order database. Another one is my vendor database. If I go into the line items, you can see that it's also capturing the NetSuite item match. So I'm going to go ahead into NetSuite in a minute and show you guys our integration with NetSuite. But it's taking the description from the line items and using that and pulling this number out of NetSuite for our reference. It's also doing it for like the cost center, which is really nice. It could do it for a few things. What's the tax schedule that this is going to be applied to? So again, 3 different databases being referenced here: my orders, my vendors, and then in NetSuite, my actual item numbers and tax schedules and cost centers. So if I go ahead and confirm this document, Maya, am I good to confirm this, or is there anything else that we were supposed to show?
I think we're good.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm this. And actually, before I confirmed it, I'm going to go and when I see it here, I'm going to go ahead and just grab this document ID just for demo purposes. I just log in. And I'm going to go ahead and search this document ID here in NetSuite. And because I confirmed it again, I can see there's 2 of them. So this is the one that we just did right now today. You can see here in the due date. So you can see all the information has been pulled in that was extracted from the document. If I scroll down, I can see the line items here. Again, this is a description that pulled out. This is an actual item that it matched within NetSuite. So if I hover over this, you can see it's actually a clickable link. It's actual item that's within NetSuite. Everything you see here is also available within for Coupa. So these integrations, I'm just showing NetSuite for the example that we have here. It's also available for Coupa. If I flip over to our Rossum store, you can see our extensions here. So if I scroll down, this was the first extension used to normalize the purchase order number. We use this extension for matching the items into our orders, as well as matching the vendor. And then through our NetSuite integration, we use that to pull in the item number match, as well as to export the data to NetSuite. Again, shortly, hopefully by the end of this month, you'll see a similar extension here for Coupa. And there are options available for SAP. You can contact your local representative for more information about any of these.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jason. I think I saw somebody raise a hand. If I could ask to put this question in the chat or in our Q&A box, that would be probably better. I should also mention that we have Jan Knetik here. If you could say hi in the chat. He is our product manager, and so he will help us answer some of your questions. So they've been working hard on these features, and I'm sure Jan will be able to help with any open questions that if there are any. Okay, Claude, would you mind please sending your question via chat so we can take it? Okay, I see more questions. Let's wait for them to come through the chat. I see more. Hence, please submit them through the Q&A and the chat if you want to. Or, okay, let me see. Claude, you should be able to speak now.
Hey, Claude, you're muted.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I see the question from Claude. It came through the Q&A. So if you have a Sage connector, not yet. We do have SAP options. We have NetSuite that was just demonstrated, and we have Coupa, as Jason mentioned, which is in beta, but it will be fully productized and available as one of the ready-made extensions by the end of September in the Rossum store as well. So Sage, not yet. But I'm sure that Jan Knetik, who is also joining us today, he will make a note of it, and he'll be very curious to connect with you and find out about this exact use case. But yeah, we are always developing and, finding other ways to add extensions. So for sure that could be added and discussed. Do we have any other questions? So I think we have answered those and answered live. Check the
And as
chat.
Maya says, we have integrations for a lot more platforms. These are just what's ready, but we've done integrations for a lot more that we didn't talk about.
That's correct. More question? Okay, Claude. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions?
Yep.
See more people raising the hand. So please take advantage of the Q&A in the chat box. That way we could make sure to go through everybody.
So Nathan, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Hansa, would you be able to answer maybe in the chat? Is there going to be an update on the Rossum API? It's not something I'm currently aware of, but maybe it's something we can follow up with you, Nathan, through email.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to know what kind of updates you're expecting. I know it's always in the works, and we always try to kind of like make them more mature and provide more support there. But I'm not quite sure what kind of update you had in mind. Okay, anonymous. What accuracy can be expected on extraction of info from invoices across various formats? So it really depends. One thing that we measure as well is accuracy across the continuous amount of time. So accuracy could be a snapshot on a specific document, and that could be up to 90%. One thing that you could do is you could actually set up confident automation in Rossum, and you could kind of like figure out which fields are more important for you. And if those fields are trained and if those fields are captured correctly, the accuracy could be close to over 90%. We have those cases. What Rossum does as well is that its AI is learning over time. So the accuracy is becoming more resilient and stable, and it stays that way. And, even if sometimes there was some rogue document or some other use case or document type, then the accuracy stays the same over a period of time, because every time that you use Rossum, you also train the AI, and accuracy levels on average are rising as well. But as I said, it really depends on what use case we're talking about, what document type we're talking about. So please make sure to get in touch, and we'll be happy to look into it. Steve, could you explain the best method to request connectors? +1 for a connector to Sage. So Steve, please get in touch with your Rossum representative, or as I mentioned, at ask@rossum.ai, and we'll make sure to forward it to a relevant person. So it depends on which connector you wanted. If you wanted to discuss Sage, then ask at Rossum UI or your customer success manager. But we will make sure to look into it no matter which way you choose to contact us with. Hank is asking, is field transformation available in every subscription? I believe it is. So it's data matching transformation.
If it is, if they have a subscription to the Rossum store, but if you don't, it's easy to get. Again, your CSM manager should be able to help you with this.
Yeah. Is the system doing a full three-way match? And if so, is it possible to process items to NetSuite that were not received via NetSuite? For example, not received, but create a receipt automatically in NetSuite. I believe right now the invoice or the document has to go through Rossum first, but
yeah. So out of the box, it's not set up to do so, but it's something that we can do. Likely we'll have to dig deeper into it. It seems like a functionality on NetSuite side, not Rossum side. So.
So Hank, you showed in a demo that a document can be deleted when it has more than 3 pages and it's not charged for these pages. Is it also true when you delete a document of 1 page?
Yep, you can set it up for whatever parameters you'd like.
Yeah, you could set it up.
I believe actually 1 page might be the minimum. It's a good question. But yeah, you can set it up whichever way you like, whether it's number of pages or a field that's been extracted, or any other parameter.
Yeah, Hank, we were showing some edit criteria, so maybe it will be useful to go through them again, because one page would be, I guess you wouldn't want to enable delete recommendations for every single page, one page document that you see. But what you could do is, as Jason mentioned, to set up some other requirements such as language, document type, and make sure that you flag the documents that are coming through this way, not just
Yeah,
the amount of pages. Preeti is asking, for an altogether new document type, what is the accuracy we can expect at the very beginning of automating the extraction? Also, what kind of sample data would you need for the same? So we do have the document types that are available out of the box. That includes majority of the AP documents, for example. And on those, you could expect a pretty high accuracy out of the box with the quality of extraction out of the box, just because Rossum has seen and has a very extensive database of the documents. There's also a couple of other document types and use cases, but it also depends on what use case are you talking about specifically. So please do get in touch. We might need to see a sample and we'll be able to let you know. In general, a lot of the documents are available out of the box with pretty high accuracy with pre-trained AI engine. So the question,
did you have a certain document type that you had in mind that you were looking at?
let me check the chat.
And
Yeah,
I just want to clarify on Hank's question about one page is that you set the maximum number of pages. So if we start at 0, that means it's unlimited. There is no maximum. And then if you put 1, then that means the max number of pages is 1, so it won't flag it. But if you put a 2, then that's where you can start.
yeah.
Workshop estimate forms. That's interesting. I've never seen these. Let me Google them really quick. If you want to answer Ignacio's for criteria, what fields can be used?
Yeah. Did you want to pull up the criteria so we could see maybe?
Yeah, I don't have a full list handy because there's multiples. Let me see if I can get one ready.
Yeah, but for now, there's at least languages, there's document types, there's currency on top of the amount of pages. So you could also set up, rule-based criteria there. So it's not just about the amount of pages that you could filter out.
And there's definitely more. I've seen a lot more. It's just I don't have a full list handy, like an all-inclusive list, all-encompassing list. But we can follow up with you after the call. Maya, we have the email address, right? Because when they registered, we can send them an email.
Yeah, make
Okay.
sure we will follow up
Excellent.
with the answers. For
The
sure.
questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty workshop estimate forms. I'm looking at images of these. They look pretty standard. There's grids on here. They're fairly structured. So I don't see any issue right off the bat with working with these. Looks like it would be a great use case for Rossum. So you want to reach out to your local representative, or we'll have someone reach out to you. If we can get some samples of the documents. This way, part of our process is to make sure that it will be a success for both parties. The last thing we want to do is say yes to some use case that may or may not work. So we'd love to see some samples and make sure that it will be a successful implementation.
Well, we have an ability, maybe this will be the time that we could talk about the way that Rossum learns. So I mentioned, the pre-trained AI engines in the past, and people were asking a lot about accuracy out of the box. So we have an actual pre-trained engine, as I mentioned, for AP documents. And with those, you could get your time to value almost straight away, because Rossum already has seen so many documents. It already knows which document is which, like purchase orders, invoices. It's the accuracy right out of the box is pretty high. But when it comes to other document types and on top of ones that are available out of the box, is we have a custom AI engine that is also available. So for that, we usually require some sample documents. So we want to see and teach the system what's important about it, is though whenever you start feeding this document types through Rossum that require some custom training, the Rossum is learning as you're using the platform. So as you validate through the validation screen and as you kind of process these documents, with each single one, Rossum is learning and improving, and the quality of extraction is also improving. So it's not something that you have to just train separately and then use separately. It's part of the natural onboarding process.
Yeah, and there was an anonymous attendee who asked about accuracy for invoices specifically, and so our accuracy is fairly high for invoices. Like Maya said, typically you can get over 90% on most use cases. Can the API be customized by an end user to work with Sage or any other backend? Yes. So we have our developers hub. I can show you really quick. Sharing my screen right now. So we have our developer hub and we have an API reference. So in our API reference, almost everything's here that you would need to build your own integration with Rossum. So it's fairly straightforward. And again, you can get there just by searching API reference or developers.rossum.ai. And there's a button right here to take you to the API reference.
Let me see. It looks like we powered through the questions. So please feel free to follow up with us if you wanted to ask about anything else that we shared today or in general. And so, just to wrap everything up, thank you so much for your time. We are waiting to hear from you. And as I mentioned, answer all of the questions that you might have. So please feel free to contact either your Rossum representative or drop us a line at ask@rossum.ai. So we'll be happy.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.